please see in Peter's preaching a strong clarity and confrontation. Verse 17, and now, brethren, brothers, I know that you acted in ignorance just as your rulers did also. What a beautiful part of the sermon. Peter is now preaching mercy and empathy. He's showing an understanding that's personalized. And I said to the group this morning at 9 o'clock, truth and love will always be laced with empathy. Biblical truth and love will always be laced with empathy. Paul himself said, listen, I was the worst of all sinners. So as I share with an empathetic heart. At the same time, I have to tell you, great warning is worth heeding in that do not think that empathy should ever turn into empowerment. Do not allow your empathy to so far shift that you go off the plantation of truth and now become an enabler. The narrow road of truth and love guards against both. My prayer is that you and I will as well, that we'll be ambassadors, that we will never pardon sin in the name of empathy, that we'll never turn grace into something so cheap that it loses its value. And at the same time, that we'll never drift into the role of a Pharisee or some kind of police officer. Let us be ambassadors who champion truth in love. This is what Peter is doing. In verse 18, but the things which God announced beforehand by the mouth of all the prophets, that his Christ would suffer, has thus been fulfilled. Here you see Peter preaching prophecy. You see Peter preaching the providence of God. You see Peter preaching the cross of Christ. Do you see why so many people look to this sermon and just say, wow? You see, unlike Peter's first sermon, where we're told that he said many other things, so we knew we got kind of a cliff notes. Here, there's no reference to anything else. We can believe that this is the sermon. And look at how each verse is absolutely pregnant with meaning and impact. Friends, you and I have an awful lot to represent as Christians. That when we proclaim, let us not be a one-note song. We are to bring the fullness of the glory of God as through the fullness of the gospel of Jesus Christ. All of these facets of the diamond that is Christ are important.